Hi everybody, I'm back in the art studio kitchen today. So I promised you a video on how I make lotion start to finish with the herbs. So this might go on a little bit long. I hope I have it kind of organized for you to see the process. So what I'm going to start with are what I do with my fresh herbs. So here I have I've got a bunch of lavender cut. I personally don't wash my lavender because I don't use pesticides, so I know they're clean. So I don't actually wash those when I bring them in. And what I do with them is I lay them flat on a paper towel on my counter. I won't do that right now because it does take a little time. Lavender takes longer for me to dry. Once they're dry, I strip the leaves off like that, and then I have this little cool thing my dad bought for me, which is so sweet. It's called Herbie the Stripper, and there's different size holes. So this one is the lavender size. You just pull it through there and voila, whoops, wrong size, I guess. Pull it through and it pulls the herb off, and then I drop the little bits on the paper towel and I let it dry a little bit longer. Once I feel like they're dry, I transfer them to a jar like this, or I wrap them up. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'll show you one that I have already done and forgot to bring it for you. I just strip off the leaves and then I'll wrap it up in a nice little twine, and it looks pretty. But the stuff that I'm going to be using for cooking or oils or whatever, I put in a jar, but I don't seal it with a regular top because I don't actually trust that that's completely dry. And if it's not completely dry, then it will mold, and we do not want that. So I just put a little cut square fabric on there and then screw that on so it lets a little air through so it stays good and dry. So I'm going to put that one over there. Sometimes I will fill it with oil so I can infuse the oil. So that's the next step I'm going to talk about. I'm going to go from, we're going to do lemon balm. So this is the cut lemon balm. And what I do to prepare it to get it to dry, I get a bunch about like this. I rinse and wash it, even though I don't use pesticides on this. I go ahead and rinse and wash this one. And to get the excess water off, I smack it like that on the inside of my sink because boy, they get really wet. Then I will tie them up and hang them to dry. So what I do is at the base, I'm gonna pull off a bunch of the leaves so that you've got a strip there. And believe me, you're gonna have plenty of herbs, so don't worry about a little bit of loss on the bottom there. It makes it much easier to dry these. Now, I have a drying rack that I have hung on my wall on the other side of this. It's just a pole, and I've done a tour of the dining room before, but I just about finished it up. So there's gonna be another tour and you'll see that. But you can get these wonderful, foldable drying racks that you can use. And depending on the climate of your area, where we're at, it's super dry. We don't have humidity. When we do, we complain. And it's really a very small percentage. So things dry really well. You can also use a dryer. And when you're gonna use a dryer, then you can just cut these to the length you want and then lay it out in your dryer. I don't, because I have plenty of dry air and I've got a place to hang it. I'm not in a super hurry. There are other things, however, I'll dry, like fruits and stuff like that. Okay, so then I just take a piece of twine, wrap it around really, really tight because it's going to dry. And so it'll get smaller. Then I make a nice knot on it. And then I have a loop here and make a little loop. And I hang it on my hook on the other side of the camera there that you can't see right now. and just hang it like that and let it dry. I don't recommend hanging it directly in sun because I just don't think that's good for it. So once it's dry, then we're gonna move on to getting the goods ready to go into the infused oil. So I'm gonna take off the twine. Usually I will untie it and save the twine, but today I'm just trying to go through this quickly enough that you don't get, exhausted from watching me. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna open up a big jar. I'm gonna use my little thing here, and I pop it through the appropriate size, and I angle it right over the jar, and pull that right out. And then you've got a leftover little piece of branch there. Again, just pop it through there. And we do this until the jar is full of the dry leaf. So we're gonna stop there. I'll do that later off camera. We'll get it all finished up. Then the next step, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my plantain to do because that was, whoa, that was sealed on good. That's what elevation does. Okay, so I'm gonna take the plantain leaves that I have dry. Plantain also, I lay out flat like this. Now, plantain takes longer to dry, so it is easier to put in a dryer. So I'll do that when I'm, just don't want the counter space filled up. I'll stick it in the dryer. But I'm just gonna break it up. In fact, I don't really have to do that, to be honest. I'm just gonna start stuffing that into the jar. It needs to be good and dry. That's important for this. Take something and just stuff it down there. And I'm just gonna do this part so you can see what the next step is to infuse your oil. So the plantain, I am not a doctor, not even an herbalist, but I, use a lot of herbs. But there are a lot of benefits to plantain leaves. These are not the banana. This is a plant that's actually considered a weed, but it has a lot of good benefits for you. So just go do some research on that and read up on it. I use it heavily in my oils, my balms, and my lotions. Oh my goodness, it makes the lotions so nice. Okay, so I've got it really stuffed in there. I want to stuff it down a little further. Pack it in. I don't really want much sticking out. Okay, so next, what I'm gonna do is I've got it nice stuffed in. I got a couple more pieces. Hang on. I don't want to waste any of the plantain. I had this sitting out on my counter to do this video for you guys, and I hadn't had time, so I'm happy I get to do it now. Okay, so now I use olive oil to do this with. You can use whatever oils you want to use, coconut if you like, but I find olive oil to be the most economic and have the least amount of, I haven't run into anyone who's allergic to olive oil yet. I have run into people who are allergic to sunflower oil or coconut oil, but I haven't met anyone allergic to olive oil. Okay, so now we've got a nice batch of oil getting ready to infuse. So now we're gonna close it up, and I'm gonna mark it. Need my marker. Where are you at? There you are. Okay. And it is July the 6th today. Not 7, not 6. 6/20. Okay. You got to mark that so that you can remember how long it's been. And I want you to notice the difference in color. See how light green that is and see how dark that is? That's because this one has been sitting and cooking. So I'm going to put this over here for now. Later, I'm going to put it in a shelf where it's in a dark place. And I just let it go for 4 to 6 weeks. I prefer the 6 weeks. You get even more goodness out of your goodies. in that oil. But I personally don't recommend leaving the leaves in the oil. Some people like to, so that's up to you, but it can start to, you know, grow bacteria. So that's why it's better to get the herbs out of there after 4 to 6 weeks. There are some people who will cook this in heat. Some people will put it out in the sun so it cooks faster. I like the slow method. I just feel like slow and easy is one of the best ways, like when you're cooking a good roast, you know, slow and easy. Okay, so now the next step is this one's ready to go. So I'm gonna just strain it. I have here, I forgot to mention, a bowl and a strainer, little metal strainer. I like that, like them the best for this. This is the first strain that I'm gonna do. So, and then I take, I think I'll use this spoon. And I push it down, trying not to get any of the leaves in the oil down there, which I just did. Try not to get the big ones in there. Okay, got one more in there to get out. There we go. And I just squish it through because there's gonna be more oil in that. And I don't like to waste the oil. So I'll lift it up here for you to watch. See how it's still straining, draining out. I'll do that for a while. I won't do that today because I don't want to take up too much excess time for you. So let me go move this out of the little strainer. Hang on, I'll be right back. I just dumped that out in the trash. And then what I'm gonna do is take a paper towel and clean out the excess pieces of leaf that's on that strainer. Make sure it's all out. Okay, next I'm going to use, where are they at? Oh, one fell onto my step here. Okay. So, coffee filter. I've heard about using this, so I haven't done that yet. We're gonna try it today. All right, so next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour this back into the jar. There we go. And I'm gonna clean out the excess little leaves that I see in the bottom of that bowl. And I don't know that there's a perfect way to get it all out when you're doing it by hand like this. It's just the way it is. Okay, here we go. Now we're gonna strain it through the coffee filter. Some people use cheesecloth. I have, but I just have such a hard time getting those little pieces of leaf out of the cheesecloth. So I just switched to using, yeah, that's not working so good. All right, I'm gonna give up on the coffee filter idea. I'm gonna move that out of here and go back to what I usually use. I usually use paper towels. I just use a couple of layers, put them into that strainer, pour the oil through, and it works through quite nicely. Like that. So it's gonna take a little time doing that, so I'm not gonna finish that with you guys, but that's the process of that. Next, let me move this out of the way and I'll be back. So now we're gonna move on to actually making the lotion. Are you excited? I am. Okay. I would like to say you don't have to use infused oils though. You can use just your store-bought oil that you want, like olive oil. That's what I started with when I started this. And it makes perfectly good lotion. It's just when you start to infuse things, you get so much more benefit. So that's why I do use that. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my oils over that I have for making the lotion. This one is a plantain infused oil. This one's lemon balm. And then I have some lavender. Today I'm gonna use the plantain and the lemon balm. All right, let's go over our list of equipment like I usually do. The equipment that you're gonna need are measuring cups, measuring things, these measuring cups. One this size, a bigger one, that's a 4 cup, this is a 2 cup. Let's see, we don't need the scissors right now. We need a candy thermometer. This is the biggest thing you really need. Everything else, you know, you can guesstimate if you want, but candy thermometer is real important. You need a little rack, a good heavy pot. You need an immersible blender. I have such a hard time saying that. Have you noticed that? Measuring spoons. That's it for equipment. A spoon. Then for ingredients you need, I have shea butter, but I think that's for my balm and not my lotion. I don't know, maybe that's, okay. Lotion, that's not lotion. I should have had it turned to it, shouldn't I have? Okay, here we go. Yeah, all right. So yeah, this has, nope, that's the wrong one. I don't have the whole thing written out. Okay, I know it's in here somewhere. This is my little book that I don't have, there it is. I don't have organized. Okay, so ingredients, you need a little bit of water, purified water, okay? Emulsifying wax, the oils, beeswax, vitamin E, and I also use rosehips oil. And a little bit of essential oil. Today I'm going to be using lemon. I am obsessed with lemon right now. All right, so we're going to put some regular water. We don't need purified for that. The bottom of the pot. I put about 1.5 inches of water in the bottom there. Turn our heat up. Put your rack in the water. And then I put this on top of that rack. Got our thermometer ready. So now we're gonna mix together the oils and the wax. I like to take the big cup and put most of it all together in here first. So we're gonna go with, we'll get the emulsifying wax. Where are you? Oh, there you are, okay. And then also I'll mention again where I get the stuff. Usually I get it from ordering it on Amazon. There's a couple of Rose Mountain Herbs, I think they're called. They're pretty good. I like Dr. Adorable. These are good places to get stuff that's, you know, ordered in. I found the emulsifying wax for a little while at Hobby Lobby and then they stopped carrying it. Okay, there's the wax. And then we're going to put the beeswax with that wax. And that is, we're starting with a 1/4 cup emulsifying wax. And the beeswax is a teaspoon. Beeswax, and just set that on top of that wax. So I have that all together. Then we need a 1/4 cup oil. So what I do is I'm gonna split that. Hang on. I do half and half. I'll do half of the lemon balm oil in that 1/4 cup, and then the rest of the way with the plantain oil. And you can just do the whole thing with one of them, like I said. All right, so now we're gonna pop that into the measuring cup there that's heating up. Put that oil in there. The wax is in. And then we're gonna put in a 1/4 teaspoon of vitamin E. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of the rosehips oil. Again, that one is something that I order online, but you can find it at your natural food stores. That one's pretty easy. Now with the essential oil, you have to, where's my, oh, there's my spatula, there we go. That you can't put in while you're cooking it because it'll just burn off. It'll cook off the scent. So that we put in later. Okay, so now we're gonna put the candy thermometer in here. While that's cooking up, I use it just like a stir stick. Works pretty good. Then we're gonna go ahead and get water in this one. 1 1/4 cup. I'll be right back. Didn't have that one ready. Okay, now that's gonna go in the microwave in just a minute. I'll take my jars over here. Get my jars, get them ready for lovely goodness. Gonna go in there and get my emulsifying, my immersible blender. I'm never gonna get that right. I'm plugged in and ready to go. As soon as this gets about halfway melted, that's when I'll turn the microwave on for 1.5 minutes. So the other thing you need to know if you're writing this down, and of course I will put the recipe below this video for you guys, but your oil needs to be 155 degrees and the water needs to be 120 degrees. So I put it in the microwave for about 1.5 minutes. For that. But it takes a little while for the waxes to melt, and it needs to be, this is what's called a double boiler. So it needs to be on a double boiler, and you make the double boiler out of the pot, the rack, the water. So that that's the water that's heating the oils in this glass. So it melts at a nice even rate, nothing gets burned or sticky or anything like that. So here we go. We're getting close. I'm getting excited. I use little glass canning jars, but you can use whatever you've got on hand. You can use plastic if you wish. It's all up to you. All of this stuff seems all fancy and expensive. It's not. It's really cheap. These things are what add up. So whenever I give stuff away, I'm always like, bring the jar back, please. I'll refill it. So while that is cooking, I thought I would talk a little bit about the oils, having them infused. Makes the lotion like so rich and creamy. It's an amazing thing. However, not all of us at times in our life can grow the herbs. So I showed you the herbs that I have right now. I have other herbs. But for instance, this year I wanted some calendula or calendula. I don't know how you say it. And I didn't have any, and I kept trying to find seeds, and I couldn't get seeds. And then I went ahead and ordered. I found a place I could order the calendula flowers. So I have a jar sitting in my shelves filled with calendula and oil sitting in there. It's got to go another 20 days before I can use it. But my point is you can order stuff. You can order chamomile flowers. You can order lavender flowers. You can order, I don't know if you can get lemon balm. I think you can. I haven't looked. You can get all of these things. You can order it and have it sent to your home. And then you can use it and make your own oils. You don't have to grow it yourself. It's nice if you can. But if you can't, you can go ahead and do this without having a farm. So that's one of my city farm girl cheats. Same with rose petals. All of these things you can purchase online and they're not super expensive. And then you just get your olive oil and your jar's ready, and you know, make sure they're dry. I think the only thing I would make sure of is that they're usable, in that, you know, they're pesticide free. That's the only thing I would worry about. And so, but you can just do it yourself. You can put it in oils and you've got infused oils. So easy. So I just wanted to share that, because sometimes we might feel frustrated saying, well, I can't do that because I can't grow my herbs. But you can. And you don't have to infuse them. You can just use olive oil, like I said earlier. And it's still much better than a store-bought version of your lotion. A lot of people do ask me, though, do you have to have the emulsifying wax? And you do. To make lotion, you gotta have that. To make balms, you don't. Balms are just beeswax, oils, and some shea butter. So you don't have to for balms. And balms do last longer than lotion, but we all love a little bit of lotion in our lives. Okay, I'm gonna start the microwave. We've got this working up to 125 right now. So it's starting to climb in temperature. Oh, I was gonna show you too. I got these cute little, aren't they cute little satchels? So I can put some of the lavender in there. Wouldn't that be cool? Also, you can take these things and take that and chamomile, and you can take some rice and you can make rice, you know, bags for on your eyes, for around your neck. You can heat them up, you can get them cold. You can sew, you gotta sew it, you know, you gotta sew the end so it doesn't fall out, but you can put a mix of rice, lavender, other plants that you might like lemon balm or mint. You can take mint. Oh, that'd be fun. And then the other thing too is you can make all these dried things can be teas. Okay, I'm gonna run that 30 more seconds, and we're almost up to 150, and most of the wax is melted, so we're in good time. Doing good on our time. Oh, earlier I had to do a big bowl of water. I have one of my aprons and a couple of flour sack towels soaking in my laundry detergent because I got blueberry juice all over everything, and you know it's coming out. It's fantastic. I love that. So it's all looking pretty good. It's soaking a little bit longer. Got most of it, and then some of it, there was still a couple of little tinges, so I put it back in to soak. But that's in the sink right now. We have just 2 little pieces of wax down here, being ornery. And then the other thing I do is I will take that out, dry it off, cool it just a bit, drop it below, so then I can accurately measure how hot the water is. And sometimes the water's too hot, sometimes it's too cold. The water is perfect. All right, now let's see where we are. Everything's melted. See if we climb up to 155. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off. We're really close. It's at 150. All right, there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna grab this out of here with something to keep me from getting burned. Pop that out. And now here comes I always show this part because I always think it's so cool. It's so cool that you can take this warm water and this melted wax and you pour the water in and it turns into lotion. Look at that. It's such a fun science experiment to do with homeschool kids. You could do that. Okay, now I take my immersable blender. I said it right. Okay, we're gonna blend it. Just for a second. And now that it's off of the heat, we're gonna add some lemon essential oil. Ready? And it just really depends on the oil as to how much oil you put in there. And it's all up to you. Here we go. I'm like really addicted to the lemon right now. I go through phases. I did lemon, I did bergamot forever. Hang on, let me get a hot pad. My little towel's not enough. Okay, so now I'm gonna pour that in these little jars. And it looks like I'm gonna need another jar. I'll grab that in just a bit. I'll do it pretty quickly, otherwise it'll start to set up right there. So then I just stick a top on it, not super tight, and leave it set overnight. And then of course mark it so you know what you made. I run into that problem if I don't mark it. Look how beautiful that is. All right, guys. Hey, you hung in there for 30 minutes. That's not too bad. We went from the herb to the lotion all in 30 minutes. I hope that some of that was really useful information for you. I hope that I was clear and concise. And if you have any questions, go ahead and, ask the questions down below in the comment section, or in the description, I mean. I will have the recipe for the lotion for you. And I'm just so excited that so many of you wanted to see how I did that. And I'm really happy to pass that knowledge on to you. And I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and make some lotion. You're gonna love it. Have a great day.